Yo, that's dope. It should update. We're live, by the way. Good morning, everybody. We were laughing because I thought it was sweet that I got the live game tracker up here in the corner, and Prop Beaver was talking shit that the score was wrong. I'm sure it'll update. So anyway, coming off a college football Saturday where I wanted to blow my brains out, and then the worst part is the picks I gave out on the live show were good. People are commenting like, "Yo, great picks, man!" Like, "Yo, I lost money. I lost money yesterday." 3 of the most disgusting losses. Minnesota. If you watch the end of that game, it's disgusting. Colorado with a backdoor cover. That one wasn't too bad. It's more just a little bad luck. Backdoor covers happen. And then Middle Tennessee. Bro, what a bad beat. Oh, man. Anyway, let's move on to the NFL. Just 11 games to go through. Let's run the intro and get it started.
Welcome to the source. The source. Source. Hey, get the source.
All right, first one up is I was actually just talking about this in the Discord like an hour ago. I don't know if I've ever been less interested in a NFL game than this one right here. Obviously, we're going to go through all of them. Toast, a weather report in Lambeau, please.
In Lambeau, 51 degrees with a slight chance of showers, but it literally says 0% showers, so I think it's a very, very slight chance.
So 51 degrees, that's actually a nice day in Green Bay for this time of year. Prop Beaver consensus line, we're at 4 now, right?
Pretty much. If you wanted the 3.5 with the pack, you could get that on FanDuel and Barstool. Consensus total is at 38.
By the way, Prop Beaver, thanks for joining us and not bailing on the show like you did last week.
It's not like I told you about that months in advance, but who knows? Who knows?
All right. So, Prop Beaver, you have the mic, you have the floor. What are your thoughts on this one?
Really not going to go too deep into analysis here. I was just looking at some of the public money in terms of the bets today. I saw that the Rams were a pretty public side. Everybody hates the Packers. I don't blame them. This team is truly dreadful. But if you want me to pick a side in this game, I would lay the 3.5 with the pack. This team is finally going to have Aaron Jones get some heavy usage this week. And I think that's really the key here because Aaron Jones is such an efficient runner. We haven't seen much of that this season, but we know that from the past. He's been one of the best running backs in the league on the ground over the past 4 years. And really what I like for that is for that to set up the play action game because that's where Jordan Love thrives. He's really not good at many things, but against play action, he is quite a good quarterback. And I think that he's going to be able to implement that today and succeed with that. What probably is the better bet for this game? The under. The Rams defense has, despite not having the best DVOA ranks, they can limit opponents. And then on top of that, Brett Rypien at quarterback is just putrid. I mean, as bad as the Packers defense is, I've seen the Rams play without Baker and without Stafford last year. It was truly outright pathetic. So under or the pack here. That's my play.
To respond to the comment, so TWD is a cool guy. I was just trolling him. He supports. He's here every week, and he's giving out some good picks. I was just busting his balls. I didn't mean for the whole comments to come raining down on this guy. Sorry about that. All right, so let's move on to the Crimson Plum. Oh my God, it's the wrong.
Oh no.
Why?
Ain't no damn piece of toast.
Hold on, I actually can fix this in 2 seconds, and we're not doing this again this week where we're doing the wrong thing. So bam. If I put. Where is Toast?
Who the hell is Crimson Plum?
That's Andy. That's the name I gave him this morning.
Oh, I'm like
the Crimson Plum. See, 1 second.
Yeah, I gave Ruffalo Rat Hawk, and now we got Andy with the Crimson Plum. So, if anybody needs a name, hit me up.
I'll take one whenever you got it.
Where the hell? Why can't I get this up here? It's right. So I don't have. All right, whatever. I'm gonna have to fix this another time. Toast, you're up. Or no, actually, Andy, just go from the small screen.
Yeah, I'm actually on the same side with with AJ with the under. I love the under in this one. These offenses are both pathetic, especially without Stafford. They're going to be a pathetic offense. Even though the Packers defense is bad, I think you have to be very, very bad to not score, and I think that's what Brett Rippon will be. And yeah, I'm actually siding with the Rams. Though I'm not stupid enough to lay the Packers on anything right now. That team is dreadful. They are. I said they should go in tank mode. I think they are an awful offense, awful defense. There's no facet of the game where they're going to be better than anybody right now. So yeah, I'll side with the Rams and the under.
Rams and the
Jordan
under.
Love broke you, man. Jordan Love broke you.
I guess, I'll put mine up as the Rams just because I don't think either team should be laying 4 points. But full disclosure, not betting this game, have zero interest in it. Don't even want to talk about it. Toast.
Yep, same. I feel the same way as you. I would lean under, but I'm not betting this game. I really wanted to do some Christian Watson props, but I just don't really want to get involved at all. So.
Yep, looks like we're all in the same boat. Damn, I can't believe 2 weeks in a row this graphics thing. I'll put an under up for you. Our poll is probably polling at 70%. Who cares? It's 45% of our viewers are taking the 4 points with the Rams, 29% laying it with the Packers, 19% under. A lot of people taking the under, which is common in a bad game. I think people just naturally gravitate towards the under. Next, Commanders at Patriots. A lot of back and forth on this one. I think this is down to 2.5 now. Weather report in Foxborough, please.
Beautiful day, 60 degrees and clear.
60 degrees and clear. Nice day in Foxborough. That's probably, you would have to think that favors Washington in their passing game. Prop Beaver, consensus line 2.5 now, right? Can you still get threes?
Yeah, you could definitely still get threes. DraftKings and FanDuel have this at 2.5 still, though.
All right, so I'll
consensus line would be 41.
41. All right. Prop Beaver, what are you doing?
So first of all, let's just talk with the prop that I'm going to play. I'm playing Jahan Dotson over 42.5 receiving yards. In the beginning of this year, I sung this guy's praises quite highly, and he shat on me. He just was awful every single week. Pretty embarrassing that I said he could be better than Terry McLaurin this year, but I think that is coming to an end. He went under 6 straight games to start the season, but if you look at the last 2 weeks, he's 2-0 to the line. He's got 151 yards, 18 targets, and 13 receptions. He's now in another prime spot for him to produce today because the Pats defense, if you know Belichick, they're all about taking the number one option. Against wide receiver ones, allowing the fewest yards per game. They're first in DVOA, 8th fewest targets per game. Against wide receiver twos, though, they're allowing the 6th most yards per game, 6th most pass attempts per game, and they're 29th in DVOA. Wide receiver twos against New England this year are 6-2 to their overs set for the games, and they're also 6-2 to over 42.5 receiving yards. Dotson's over 3.5 receptions line is juiced as high as -174 on some books. With 4+ receptions, Dotson is 6-2 to the over, averaging 64 yards per game. I just don't believe that Dotson is as bad as he's shown, and this is a prime spot for him to live up to that potential. So I'm going to take the over here. As far as a game side, I would take the Commanders. I'm getting points. Mac Jones, I know the Commanders secondary is horrible, but they don't have any weapons to exploit this horrible secondary. Demario Douglas is their best receiver. I like him quite a bit, but he operates out of the slot where Benjamin St. Juste plays, and he's probably their best corner. So I just don't love the matchup for the Patriots. I think Washington does enough here. Sam Howell continues to prove that he's been quite solid, and when he's not under pressure, he's a decent quarterback. Pat's pass rush isn't nothing to brag about, so Commanders in points.
All right. Andy, from your corner down there.
Yeah, I'm with him. With Washington, I'm more on because Sam Howell and that offense has looked much better. He and especially against a defense that's had a lot of injuries. Obviously, they lost their best corner for the season earlier in the year. The Patriots' pass defense just hasn't excited me at all here. I like Sam Howell in this game, and I like Washington plus 2.5.
Wow. Okay, 2 picks on Washington so far. I am on Washington as well. Let me get the graphics set up here. All right, so I'm taking the Commanders also. Look, as I said on YouTube, I don't want to just repeat everything, but I know everyone's talking about how Sweat and Chase Young are gone from Washington, right? It's lead story. It's what everyone's talking about when you bring up the Washington Commanders. Okay, yes. But the Patriots are also missing their 2 best defenders, and they may be missing both offensive tackles in this game. So, yeah, the trade is more newsworthy, and everyone talks about it. But the Patriots are, both Patriots are missing their 2 best defensive players, Gonzalez and Judon, as well as a couple others. And then the 2 guys that would be on the edge, pass protecting, they might be out. Riley Reef definitely out. Do we have an update on that Patriots, the other tackle? Let me see. Let me check this
Talk about Trent Brown.
Yes.
No.
Well, I'm going to get one. Trent Brown did not practice Wednesday, Thursday, light practice on Friday. So it's a toss-up, and they may be missing both tackles. So I'm on the Commanders. I expect Sam Howell to make some plays in the secondary. And look, this Washington defense is bad, and it's going to be bad moving forward, but so is the Patriots offense. Toast?
Real quick.
I don't have a side. I actually played, and I'm probably going to sound really stupid for this, but I played Mac Jones over 217 yards passing. You just talked about it. The Commanders, I mean, you take away those 2 edge rushers. Now you're putting in Casey Toohill into that spot. Regardless of the issues on the New England offensive line, it doesn't really bother me. Opposing quarterbacks are averaging about 270 yards this year against Washington. So if Mac Jones just has a decent day, he should be able to go over 217 and a half.
Somebody had asked me about whether I'd play Jahan Dotson at 46.5, assuming the line moved. I would bump that down to about 0.75 units instead of 1 unit at that number.
But you would still play it?
Yeah, I would still play it.
Okay. Jonathan Jones being questionable, but I think he actually is going to play. All right. Our poll, wow. Polling at the Commanders pretty heavy. A lot of people like Washington at that +3. I'm wondering if the poll would come in at similar results if there was only 2.5s available. We'll see. But 28% laying the 2.5 with New England, 7% under, 4% over. Next game. Tampa at Houston. Tampa at Houston. All right. No weather here. Consensus line, please.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to load on Odds Jam real quick.
I think it's 3.
It should be 3. Yeah, it's 3. I mean, there's a couple 2.5s out there, but you'd have to pay minus 120 juice for them for Houston.
All right, so I'll leave it at 3 for the poll. Consensus total?
Consensus total is coming in at this. There's 39.5 and 40. Let's call it 40.
Let's call it 40. Poll is running. Prop Beaver, what's your move here?
I might be a sucker for this. I don't know, but I'm gonna bet CJ Stroud over 236.5 passing yards. I got that on FanDuel last night. I'm gonna buy low after disappointing in that smash spot versus Carolina. Pretty much every betting and or fantasy person was saying, "Oh, Nico Collins gonna go off, Tank Dell's gonna go off, CJ Stroud's gonna go off," and he flat out sucked. There's really no avoiding that. It was a smash spot. Everything was working for him there, and he flat out choked. But because of that, it makes me think that he's due for some positive regression here. And I like the matchup again for him because Tampa is top 5 in zone percentage, top 5 in blitz percentage, while bottom 5 in pressure percentage. Well, he's 2nd in yards per attempt against the blitz. He's 5th in yards per attempt when kept clean, and he's not going to get pressured. And he's also 2nd in air net yards per attempt against zone coverage. Opposing QBs are 6-1 to their pass yards over against Tampa this year, and 5-2 to over 236.5 passing yards. Who's the only one that went under their total set versus Tampa? Derek Carr, when he had that shoulder injury, and he was throwing it 13 times to Alvin Kamara for 2 yards a gain. Add in the fact that the run game should be utterly non-existent against this Tampa Bay front, and I think he goes over here. As far as a game pick goes, I really do not love this game. I'm just going to keep fading the Bucs, though, because I really think this defense is absolutely putrid. If there's one weakness for this Houston offense, it's the fact that they're not great on third downs. Well, welcome to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that's dead last in third down percentage. I think Stroud's much more aggressive in terms of early downs passing the ball. I like the Texans to cover this number, win the game.
Can I add one thing really quickly, Sauce?
Yeah.
Since Beaver alluded to how bad Tampa's been in betting against them. In the last 2 seasons, if you bet against Tampa every single week, you'd be 16-8-1. The only team that's worse than that, the Chicago Bears. So,
I'm on Tampa. I got it at 3, though. Prop Beaver made he makes the graphics at the consensus line, which was 2.5, but I personally got it at 3. I know I said on YouTube Friday night that I was leaning Houston minus 2.5, but once it hit 3, oh shit, I forgot to put the updated pie charts. I'll do that in a second. But once it hit 3, the value shifts over to the Bucs. And look, CJ Stroud, what we've seen the last 2 weeks, there's no business laying a full 3 here. If CJ Stroud comes out looking like he did earlier in the season, then yeah, Texans probably win and cover, but if CJ Stroud looks like we saw the last couple weeks, Tampa Bay should probably be favored. They have no run game. Houston's not going to be able to run the ball at all here. The only path to the Texans covering a full 3 is CJ Stroud throwing for 300-plus yards. And it's like, do I trust him to do that? After what we've seen the last 2 weeks, I'd have to say no. It's not one of my... Actually, I kind of like the Bucs at 3. I shouldn't say it's not one of my favorites. I like the Bucs at 3. So, yeah, Tampa plus 3 for me. Toast?
Yeah, I took Tampa with 3 too. Those 3s on DraftKings at least.
So you just gave a speech about how unprofitable the Bucs are, and then you took them?
Yeah, that's what I did. It wasn't a speech; it was 2 sentences to prove home Beaver's point. But yeah, you're giving me a Bucs team that I understand they keeps on getting points, but I think they're more talented. They got a veteran roster. I think this game stays close. So if you're going to give me 3 at essentially even money, I'm probably going to take it. So,
Andy, are you with Prop Beaver or are you with us?
Yeah, we're split on this one. I'm with Prop Beaver. I'm siding Houston here. I also really like the over. The ball's going to be in the air this entire game. These 2 rushing offenses are awful, so they're not going to be running the ball much at all. So, yeah, I like Houston just solely because, I mean, Tampa Bay's defense at one point, I thought they were going to be elite. They had a good start to the season, and then they've fallen off a cliff. So I like Stroud to bounce back in this one and get Houston the win and the cover.
Yeah, the Bucs pass defense has looked bad recently. It's just it basically comes down to me like, am I betting CJ Stroud to throw for 300 plus or not? And I'm betting not. Prop Beaver, do you feel more confident now that Andy has joined your side on Houston?
Yeah, I mean, better than a fucking square like you.
All right. So our poll is trending towards Tampa Bay. It looks like when it loads, it was like over 50% of the people on the Bucs, down around 30% with Houston next game. Arizona at Cleveland. Oh my God. It's at 12.5 now. What's the weather like in Cleveland, Toast?
beautiful day, 55 and sunny.
It's still 12.5, right? Probably.
Yeah, beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful day. What's the consensus total at?
It's the consensus total is gonna be at 38 in this game. Should see a shootout.
Oh, a shootout loading. So I'll go first because maybe these guys have something to say about this one. I would just say under here. I'm not betting this one. I guess if you gun to my head, I had to pick a side. I would take the Cardinals plus 12.5, but on the road in Cleveland against that pass rush, it just seems like an absolute nightmare. So, yeah, I'm on the under. That's what I would bet here, but I'm not gonna kick down the door to tell you to tell me on that one. Go ahead, Prop Beaver.
If you thought the my kicker props were weird, get ready for this one. All right, so I got an SGP. I'm taking Jonathan Ledbetter over 3.5 tackles plus assist, parlayed with the Browns money line. I got that at -110 on Bet365. Would play that up to -130. And here's why I like it. So normally when I see these big spreads, I like to go ahead and take the assumed losing team and find their tackles plus assist leader and play the over because they're going to see a bunch of runs, should lead to an over, right? Well, Kaiser White, the leading tackler for Arizona, the dude doesn't get tackles on the road. So I had to pivot. So I was looking, and defensive interior linemen are just going off against this fucking Cleveland team because they're allowing the second most tackles per game, 70.3. 8 interior defensive linemen have hit 4+ in Cleveland's last 3 games, and 12 have hit 4+ in Cleveland's 7 games this season. Ledbetter is 5-1 to the over and 4-1 in his last 5 on the road. Now he's going to face his best matchup yet. And with Tune making his first start on the road versus a top 5 defense and Watson returning, I like the value here. I mean, -110 to essentially play a line that continues to hit and get a team that should probably curb stomp the other team. I like it.
Did you just rattle off Ledbetter stats on this show?
Yes.
He's elite.
Okay. What's your game pick?
Bro.
Make one.
The cards.
All right, cards plus 12.5.
Don't ask me for reason on that either.
The reason is it's 12.5 points, and why not? This game sucks. Andy, do you even have anything to say on this game?
No, I really don't know how I'd be able to follow tackle props. So I'd side Cardinals too.
You have to go to ESPN.
Yeah, it's a real tough challenge, Andy, for the Crimson.
No,
Plum.
I know how to
You look on a
actually.
sports app.
I know how to find them. I meant, how am I supposed to say something that compares to tackle props?
Yeah, right. You stole the show. Toast,
Yeah.
pick on this one.
No, I don't have much. All I can tell you guys is the Cardinals defense stinks. They're 30th in pressure rate. They're 32nd in opposing first downs. They're 31st in EPA per play. 32nd in opposing success rate. So it's just really hard to get behind this Arizona team.
Amen.
So yeah, it's just a big fat pass.
Yeah, all right. So pass for Toast. Let's get to a real game. Bears Saints. Let's get to a real game like the Bears Saints. So I get 41% of our viewers, by the way. Cards won the poll. So let's go Bears. What is this? This is in a dome, so no weather.
Bet the Cardinals. You need to bet the Cardinals second quarter. That's the only time they're profitable this year. 7-1 in the second quarter ATS. That's the only profitable spot the Cardinals are.
There you have it. Bet the Cardinals in the second quarter. You heard him.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Already,
definitely going to do that. All right.
Consensus line's 9.5 here.
All right. And consensus total.
Consensus total in this one is at it's 41.5, 42. Take your pick.
I'll take 41.5. All right. All right, Prop Beaver polls running. What do you like?
This is brutal.
You gonna take another linebacker tackle?
No, I honestly wish I did. I'll just take the Bears plus the 9.5. Oh God. Bajan, I expect to be quite bad in this game against the man coverage. It's going to be pitiful. But on the other side is Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is just so bad. Laying a big number with this guy is just not something I desire to do. And I think the Bears could keep.
Derek Carr looked all right in the last game, though. He looked all right.
Congratulations. All right. And basically, the rushing defense for the Saints continues to get worse and worse by the week. I think the duo of Roschon Johnson and Foreman could just waste the clock away and keep this game somewhat close. I mean, I would probably, if I'm going to bet this game, I would take it at the 10, so I don't have to potentially lose by the hook. Don't bet this game. Next.
I'm on the over, and I did bet it. I got it at 41 even. Look, I think... All right, there's a couple angles here. Number one, what I just said, Derek Carr looked pretty good last week. Not that I expect Derek Carr to be a great quarterback or the Saints passing offense to be dangerous moving down the stretch. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it looks like last week he looked pretty comfortable, and at home against the Bears secondary, that's primetime spot for quarterbacks. So even an average quarterback can have a big game throwing the ball on this Bears team, especially at home. So I expect Derek Carr to have no problem moving the ball, making plays through the air. But on the other side, Dennis Allen's defense, man. Dennis Allen's defense, there's holes in that defense recently. I mean, the Saints, they generate no pressure at all. They've given up 58 points in their last two games. They gave up 26 points to Baker Mayfield and the Bucs at home a few weeks back. This Dennis Allen defense, we all hang our hat like, oh, Saints defense with Dennis Allen. I'm not seeing it this year, especially recently. Saints run a lot of man coverage. DJ Moore and Mooney, they're tough guys to cover. Not that I'm really expecting Tyson Bagent to make plays through the air, but Roschon Johnson should be able to run the ball. The Saints have been getting run on. So I think the over is the best play. If I was to pick a side, though, I'd be on the Bears plus 9.5, but I just took the over. So I'll put my graphic back to over. All right, Andy?
Yeah, I'm also on the Bears. I think their run game is going to do just enough to offset the fact that Tyson Bagent probably won't do anything in this game, even if because they are going to get separation, maybe get open, but I just don't think he's good enough of finding people right now. He looked pretty rough the other day. Herbert did tear apart that Bears defense, but Derek Carr's not Justin Herbert. So yeah, I think the Bears keep it close in this one, but yeah, I still think the Saints are going to win.
We're all taking the Bears? What's wrong with us?
Yeah, they're bad. I mean, Derek Carr is 8-24-2 ATS when he's favored by 3 points or more. He's 1-12 ATS in the last 14 times he's been a 3-point favorite. So, I actually took his over 1.5 passing touchdowns at -120.
You took Derek Carr over 1.5 passing touchdowns?
Yeah,
I could see that.
But yeah, I don't really like this game that much either. I took Carr as a square because I figured he's going to get Kamara involved and whatnot. But yeah, there's not a lot in this one.
Yeah, I would love to be on the Bears. You guys know I like taking dogs, but I really could see Derek Carr having success throwing the ball. Let's move on to the next game. By the way, you're not missing anything in Chiefs Dolphins. They're just punting back and forth to start the second half. Still 21-0. All right. Next game is Seahawks Ravens. Let's talk Seahawks Ravens. Finally, a good football game here. Can I get the weather update in Baltimore, please?
It is loading, but in Baltimore, we've got 70 degrees, partly cloudy. Beautiful.
70. Ooh, beautiful day. Consensus line 6.5. Correct?
Yes, and the consensus total is 44.
Consensus total 44. All right, Prop Beaver, you have the floor. What are you doing?
Ravens -6.5. Easy. The Seahawks team is truly a bunch of frauds. They have faced pretty much nobody in terms of quarterback competition as of late, and everybody thinks, "Oh wow, the Seahawks."
Who have the
defense,
Ravens
wow.
seen as far as quarterback competition, bro?
They have seen
Joe
they've
Burrow
seen some
with
guys.
a calf injury in week 2.
They've seen some guys.
fuck
I'll
outta
tell you
here.
that. I just truly think that it's less of the defense I think is fraudulent for the Seahawks. I think that Geno Smith's just not that great of a quarterback. I think that
I'll give you that.
Faced some very easy competition this year, third in strength of schedule. And I think that Lamar Jackson in the run game, they have the secret weapon here to beat this team because it's not going to be the running backs I think produce against the Seahawks defense. I think it's going to be Lamar Jackson. That's why I'm on Lamar Jackson over 40.5 rushing yards. Seahawks are too highly respected for the books to ask us to like 6.5 against them, even on the road against a red-hot Ravens team. So what is the angle here? How do the Ravens win by a whole touchdown here? Well, that tells you that they control the clock and run the ball effectively, which is a nightmare for the running backs, as I just mentioned. So how do they do it? Well, they're not defending quarterback scrambles quite well at all. Josh Dobbs had 7 attempts for 43 yards against them, 6.1 yards per carry. Daniel Jones had 10 attempts for 66 yards against them, 6.6 yards per carry. And even P.J. Walker, who isn't even a mobile quarterback, just had 27 yards on the ground against them on 6 attempts. With all due respect to those guys, none of those guys are Lamar Jackson. On the season, Seattle's allowing the 7th most yards per game and the 3rd most yards per carry to the QB position. We're going to see Andrews have Bobby Wagner on him. Flowers and OBJ have Witherspoon and Woolen on him. That could lead to scrambles. And we've seen in the past that Lamar's much more inclined to run at home. Since 2021, he's averaging 11.4 attempts per game at home compared to just 8.4 on the road. His rush attempts line for this game is juiced heavily on most books to over, with 7+, over 7.5. With 7+ rush attempts in 2021, Jackson is 21-5 to the over. At home with 7+ rush attempts in 2021, he's 11-2 to the over. He didn't really use his legs the last 2 games. I think he's going to be able to use those. And what I really think gets the Ravens to cover here is the fact that not only is Lamar going to be able to use his legs effectively, but the Seahawks are a zone-heavy defense. Lamar Jackson is a top 2 quarterback in the league against zone thus far. I think he flexes those muscles. I think he dominates. And I think Geno Smith struggles against the man coverage that he's been weak against all season. We saw him look terrible last week against the Cleveland Browns. I think he looks terrible again. Ravens by 10. Boom.
Did the Seahawks cover last week? Yes or no?
They did.
Thank you.
No, they won.
That's dope. Against PJ Walker. Oh my God, that's dope. That's dope.
Andy, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, I went back and forth on this because I knew where both of you guys were going with it because we argued about it the other day. But yeah, I'm actually on Baltimore too. I think they're gonna
Here we
do
go,
enough.
Andy.
I
Here
like-
we go,
oh,
baby.
God, Jesus Christ, Andy.
I don't mean
You
to-
guys can
Fucking
hold.
square toast.
You guys can hold.
Squares
You
over
guys
there.
can hold hands and lose together.
I don't mean
Yeah,
to
to
give
the fucking
AJ
bank.
Yeah, I don't mean to give AJ a big head here on this, but yeah, I'm on him too because I do think they're gonna do enough to win this by a touchdown. Like I don't like Seattle at all. They have not. He's right. They haven't played anybody. Like PJ Walker was beating them toward the end of that game. Like if PJ Walker wasn't god awful, they lose that game. So yeah, I think Baltimore is at least 10 points better than them too. So yeah, I got Baltimore in this one.
It's really hard to make a case for Geno Smith, but I mean, the Ravens has seen who? CJ Stroud, his first game ever. Joe Burrow with no calf. Gardner Minshew. The 3rd string guy from from Cleveland. Kenny Pickett. Malik Willis.
I just
it's
think
just all bad.
I think it's just because Lamar's Lamar's more established in this situation. Like, it's
And
Geno
fair
Smith.
toast, but you know what the difference is? Lamar Jackson actually saw good defenses. Geno Smith hasn't seen many of those this year, and when he saw one last week, he looked horrendous.
All right, my turn. Seahawks plus 6.5 is the move here.
Let's go.
Look, the Ravens defense is awesome. It's one of the best defenses in the NFL, but there's a couple areas where they're not elite, they're just pretty good in, and I think these are areas that really benefit Seattle. Number one, the Ravens can be run on a bit. Their defense is elite against the pass. Really, they're the best team in coverage out there, but they can be run on a bit, and Seattle quietly has a nice little efficient rushing attack now. It's been up and down, but as a whole, Seattle's been able to run the ball this year. I think they can run the ball in Baltimore in this one, and then Baltimore's excellent against the pass, but they don't generate a ton of pressure. They're just excellent in coverage, and if you give Geno Smith time and a rushing attack with those weapons he has, I think he's going to find a way to make some plays. Geno Smith, there's a lot of criticism about him, holds on to the ball too long, struggles with decision-making, but he is an accurate passer of the ball, and I think he'll be able to make plays. But really, the reason I'm on Seattle, do you notice that both these schmucks casually didn't even mention the Seahawks defense? I think the Seahawks might have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
First thing I mentioned.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I said the Seahawks defense is fraudulent. First thing I mentioned.
Fraudulent.
But all right, keep going. Keep going.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So Seahawks had one of the best run defenses in the NFL last year. They added Bobby Wagner and now Leonard Williams to that, to an already top 5 run defense. Who's running the ball on this team? This is a top run defense. This is a top 5 run defense last year. They added Bobby Wagner and Leonard Williams now. I don't think anyone's going to be running the ball in Seattle moving forward, and that's what I'm betting on. I am betting on the Seahawks defense. I think they're going to take the run away from Baltimore. Yes, is Lamar Jackson going to scramble and make some plays? Of course. He's a freak athlete. He's one of the most talented guys in the league. But overall, we're talking about laying a full touchdown here. And historically, isn't this when we fade Lamar Jackson? Yes, I know he beat up on the Lions. Isn't this where we fade Lamar Jackson when he's a big favorite? Historically, it's been very profitable. These guys are drinking the Kool-Aid. Look, he's taking a sip of it right now. Seattle plus 6.5 is the move here. Toast, you're with me, right?
Yeah, of course I'm with you. Of course I'm with you. Lamar Jackson, 9-16 ATS, playing at home in that 1 Eastern window. Oh, not to mention the fact Seattle loves playing out east. Seattle, what was it? 102-64 the last, like a whole bunch. Sorry, that's the whole league. 102-64 traveling east to west. I'm sorry, west to east. And then specifically the Seahawks are 20 games over 500 in that spot in their history. So they really like traveling west, and they really like playing in that early window. This is a spot that I've been playing Seattle for the last couple of years. Early window on the East Coast. I especially love it. I actually played Seattle in the first half as well because Lamar at home in the first half, barely 500 as well. So I have Seattle both ways.
Go take those trends and shove them up your cooter.
The community's on the side of Prop Beaver and the Crimson Plum. 49% of you guys are laying the 6.5 with Baltimore. 37% are enlightened souls and are taking the 6.5 points with Seattle.
Wait for this. Lamar Jackson, that stupid fuck, can't see shit.
Let's move on to the next
doesn't hit
game.
41 rush yards, I will say.
Yeah, he'll come in on tomorrow at work like, I'm done with Lamar Jackson. I am done. All right, Minnesota at Atlanta. I think this is down to 3.5, isn't it, Prop Beaver? It was earlier.
Yes. And the total's at 37.5 on most books. Some have it at 38.5.
Under 37.5. All right. Poll is running. Prop Beaver, do you have a move in this one?
Nah, I just don't know anything about this Jaron Hole kid. I'd never watched him at BYU.
You didn't miss much.
Yeah, that's what it
No,
sounds
he was all right.
like.
He was all right.
That's what it sounds like to me, right? So I'm going to lay the points with the Atlanta Falcons just because it's a home game. Am I a bit worried that the Vikings rush defense is pretty good and that's what the Falcons live and die on? Yeah. Am I also worried that Drake London's out, a guy who would be great at exploiting a weak Vikings secondary? Yeah, I'm also a little annoyed about that too. But just the Vikings defense, I don't think they're just going to keep them in this game by themselves. I think KJ Osborne's banged up. Jordan Addison going to be facing a lot of man coverage, likely with AJ Terrell on him, shadowing him. So I would just lay the points. But, I mean, this is probably the least confident in any side I give you today, with the exception of that dog shit Bears game.
I'm on the same side, and for the same reasons. I'm a little more confident than you sound, though. I think this is the right side. I'm against the line movement. Actually, the line movement is against me in a few of these games today. So, look, Minnesota's run defense has looked better recently, and that concerns me a little bit, like Proppy was talking about, because we know Atlanta has to run the ball. They cannot win games just on the back of Desmond Ritter's throwing the ball. And Drake London's out for this game, isn't he?
Yes, he's out. I also just got a notification that Christian Darrisaw is out for the Vikings, which is pretty
I
big.
saw he was a game time decision, so that's actually confirms my bet a little more. But okay, so the point I was making is I could see Atlanta struggling to move the ball. We did see Desmond Ridder have some success picking apart the Tampa Bay Bucs zone. Minnesota Vikings run not really a similar zone, but they run a lot of zone. Yeah, I can see that the Falcons offense struggling a bit, but on the other side, I don't think people realize how well this Falcons defense is playing right now. It's playing really well. They're excellent against the run. They're a top 5, top 7 run defense in the NFL. I just can't see a picture where the Vikings are able to consistently move the chains in this game. They're going to see a ton of man coverage, like Prop Beaver said. And without Justin Jefferson, I mean, Jordan Addison's a tough guy to cover. The Falcons got corners, man. And if you're betting on the Vikings to cover this, you're banking on that team to go in and run the ball on a really good run defense. I don't see that happening. Or you're banking on Jaron Hall and the combination of KJ Osborne and Jordan Addison to beat those Falcons corners. And I don't see that happening either. So what I did was I split my money in half. I put half on the Falcons to cover, half on the Vikings team total under 16.5, which I got at plus money. I think I got it like plus 102 or something. That was last night when I bet it. But yeah, I'm on the Falcons here, and I wouldn't say I'm crazy confident about it, but I'm pretty convinced I'm on the right side.
I like that team total under. The Falcons are very good situationally, red zone and third downs. And
yes.
That's what keeps the points off the board. So that's a good bet.
Yeah, and then on the road with Jaron Hall, let's see what Andy likes.
Yeah, this is a bad spot for Jaron Hall. I'm pretty confident in Atlanta too. I'm not gonna back Jaron Hall at all with this offense. Without obviously Justin Jefferson's been gone for a while, but Jordan Addison has kind of emerged, but he's a little banged up. You said KJ Osborne banged up. Yeah, if you have a banged up offense and you're making your debut, I'm not gonna back you in this one. And I also think Taylor Heineke coming in. I think I've been waiting for it for a while. I think we all have. Like, it was time for Ridder to get benched, and I think having a veteran, I would say, and Heineke come in is good for them. So I think their offense will move a little smoother too.
Toast, are we sweeping?
I could care less about his side, but we'll sweep just for the sake of the show. I'll be tailing whatever you play, but I did play Kyle Pitts over 3.5 receptions. It's kind of juiced up now into the 140s, so if you can find it cheaper, do it. But like Andy said, with Taylor Heineke back, I think that he finds a little bit of multiple targets because that Vikings defense is pretty damn blitz happy, so he should be able to get us some targets. But yeah, again, it's all juiced up now, so it's really not worth it.
I want to check out that. I want to see how Pitts did in the Bucs game because that'd be a real good indication. Kyle Pitts, 3 catches, 47 yards in that game, 5 targets. So
the
yeah,
Bucs are pretty brutal against tight ends
42
too.
is his yards line. If you guys like that better,
touchdown.
I think the
Dolphins.
receptions line is better here because we got George Kittle with 5 receptions, Travis Kelce with 10 receptions, Goddard with 6, and Everett with 6. But they're all getting very low yardage in terms of yards per reception. So I think it's worth drinking the juice there. I think that's a good play, Toast.
Yeah, touchdown Dolphins. By the way, Cedric Wilson, 32-yard pass. It's 21-7.
How much time left? I got the under.
Still decent amount, like 3.5 minutes in the third quarter. Let's move on. Our poll is trending towards Atlanta. 54% of our viewers are laying the 3.5 with the Falcons. 30% taking the 3.5 with the Vikings. There's sharps out there that like Minnesota in this one. I personally just couldn't get there. Next, Colts at Panthers in the ultimate, like, what the hell game. Is this... Can I get a weather report in Carolina? Wait. No, Carolina.
Beautiful. 70 and clear.
2.5 still, Prop Beaver?
No. So you could get 2s, and you could even get a 1.5 on points bet.
Oh my God! Thank God I got my bet down. All right, so Colts minus 1.5, Panthers plus 2. Total?
The total in this ball game is at 44.5.
Yeah, Colts run such a fast-paced offense. They've been cashing overs left and right. Those Colts. Not really with their offense. They're just letting up damn near 40 points a game. Colts have allowed 38 points a game in their last 3. And partially because they're like turning into the Texas Tech of the NFL. Prop Beaver, what's the move here?
I'm trying to find my play on Twitter. Very sorry about this. Can somebody else go real quick?
Sure. Andy, you want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, the Colts offense, as you said, they're very fast-paced, but Minshew's been inconsistent week to week, obviously, and then but they're getting their run game going, right? Jonathan Taylor's on top, playing better again now, and I think that doesn't just enough. I like the over with you because of how their games have been. They've been very high scoring. But I also I'm leaning Indianapolis to cover here because I think Carolina's due for a letdown after playing. And they didn't even play very well, but they beat Houston on a last-second field goal. I think they're due for a letdown after getting their first win of the season.
I'm ready.
Yeah, you have Jonathan Taylor, right? You sent me the graphic.
Yeah. I got a Jonathan Taylor longest rush over 15.5 yards. Just wanted to get my reasoning here so I'm a bit more organized with what I'm saying. JT is looking back, man. Sluggish start those first 2 games, but he's got 75 and 95 yards on 18 and 12 attempts his last 2 weeks, a combined 5.6 yards per carry. And that was against a number 3 Browns rush D and a number 19 Saints rush D. In those games, he had a 24 and a 42-yard rush, as well as multiple gains of 13 plus. He now faces the singular best matchup for RBs amongst anybody, the dreadful Carolina Panthers. Panthers are 32nd in DVOA, 28th in yards per carry allowed, 32nd in adjusted line yards per allowed, and the opposing starting running back has cashed this in all but one game against Carolina. Pierce had 16, Mostert had 49, Montgomery 42, Madison 17, Walker 36, Bijan 21. The lone miss was 4th-string running back Tony Jones III, but his teammate Taysom Hill still managed a 16-plus yard run in that game. So somebody's ran for 16-plus yards in all 7 games that the Carolina Panthers have played, and that's including backups. Chris Brooks, Craig Reynolds, Tyler Algier all cash this line. And Taylor has a great hit rate at this line. He's cashed his last 21 to 30 healthy games, averaging 29 yards on that longest rush. And on the road, he's been even better, cashing his last 12 of 14 healthy games. I went with the longest rush rather than the rushing yards because, I don't know what the game script's going to be. I think the Panthers could actually do pretty well in this one. And then on top of that, you never know if they're doing that stupid hot hand bullshit where Zach Moss gets a few more carries because they're trying to ease Jonathan Taylor back. All I know is that Taylor's ripping big chunks. Panthers are allowing tons of big chunks. I think there's some great value here. If I had to pick a side, I know it's a bit gross because the line keeps dropping. Well, I'm going to go with the Panthers. I think the Panthers' pass defense, despite having so many guys out, they have the recipe to slow down this Colts offense. They have a decent slot corner, and Josh Downs is Gardner Minshew's main guy in third downs. They blitz a lot, and Gardner Minshew is one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL under the blitz. And then Bryce Young is going to face a very zone-heavy defense. That's what he excels against. Terrible against man with those bad receivers, but against zone, he can find those spots in the defense and pick them apart. So, going to go with the Panthers plus the 2.5, and I'm going to go with Taylor, longest rush over 15.5.
Yeah, I'm riding your coattails, and basically in a sense that what the last 2 or 3 sentences you just said is spot on about how I feel about the Panthers offense. Don't have a ton of faith in Bryce Young in that unit right now, but we saw them have some success against a very similar defense in the Houston Texans. Houston struggling to get pressure on the quarterback, Houston running a lot of zone coverage. Bryce Young played well. Want to know what the Colts defense can be summarized up as? A team that struggles to press the quarterback and a team that runs a lot of zone coverage. It's a very similar matchup for Bryce Young. So not only do I expect him to have another good game, but it's fresh in his mind. He just played a similar defense. I don't think people realize how bad this Colts defense has been. They are allowing 38 points per game. In their last 3, they allowed 37, 38, and 39 points. The Colts defense is getting lit up right now. And bro, we're talking about, can we just, you know what? Forget everything I just said. We're talking about laying points on the road with Gardner Minshew. What? Like laying points on the road with Gardner Minshew? On what planet, man? He's a backup quarterback. He comes in and looks cool for a few games. You're like, hey, this kid can play. And then he falls off. And like, there's no way I'm laying points with Gardner Minshew on the road against a Panthers defense that, dating back multiple years, always plays pretty well at home. Yes, they're hurt, and I was leaning Houston. I think I bet Houston last week and took the loss. But if you look at the Panthers, I'm pulling it up right now. Panthers don't really get scored on at home. The 3 home games this year, 20 points to the Saints, 21 points to the Vikings, and they had the ball driving down to tie it in that game. 13 points to the Texans. No one really comes into Carolina and puts points up like that. So, look, on paper, the Colts should be able to run the ball down the throat of the Carolina Panthers defense, but the Panthers defense just always seems to find a way. You know they're going to load the box, and they're going to sell out to stop this Colts rushing attack. I mean, like, okay, Gardner Minshew, beat us. Throw for 310 and 3 touchdowns and beat us. I dare you. And I don't think Gardner Minshew's going to do it. I could see him turn the ball over a couple times. I'll take the Panthers. It's one of my smaller bets, but I'm on Carolina.
Yeah, I'm on Carolina as well. It's really simple for me. In the NFL, if a team goes from a favorite to a dog, I bet the dog. Those teams, like the Colts that opened as an underdog. I'm sorry, I said it backwards. Colts opened up as an underdog. Now they're the favorites. In the NFL, those teams 43, 83 ATS since 2019. I just fade them. So, yeah, I'll be taking the Panthers plus the points.
Yep.
Also, it's a Frank Reich revenge game as much as I don't think he's that great of a coach. The team should be up for this game.
Our poll is polling pretty heavy towards the Colts. 52% laying the points with Indianapolis. 27% taking the points with Carolina. 11% over, 9% under. Next. Giants at Raiders. Whoa. Oh, that's why. There we go. The Raiders at Giants. Let's get the polls going here. Is it still at 1.5?
It's at 1.5. Yeah, only book you get 2 on is Caesars.
Over to consensus total.
Consensus total is 38.
1.5, 38. Prop Beaver, what's the move?
The move is wow. Whew, this is something. I think I'll lay the 1.5 with the Raiders. And I guess my thought process there is that 2 pretty similar offenses. They're both terrible. And they both have a good running back. Now, Josh Jacobs has struggled most of this year, but that effort against the Lions, that proved something to me. I mean, they basically said, we're going to run the ball down your throats, Detroit. A team that heading into that matchup was a top 10 rush defense, and they couldn't do a goddamn thing to stop it. The Giants are a bottom 5 rush defense. I could see Jacobs picking up those yards again and taking some pressure off of Aiden O'Connell, who's going to be facing some blitz-heavy approaches from Wink Martindale. And then on top of it, really, if we're comparing the offenses even further, I just think that the weapons are far better for the Raiders, obviously. I mean, you got Devontae Adams, you got Jacoby Myers, you got Josh Jacobs out of the backfield, you got Michael Mayer. I mean, the Giants without Darren Waller, who do they have? Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins, Jalen Hyatt, who can't even be used because Daniel Jones can't throw the ball more than 8 yards down the field. I mean, it's just not anything that really impresses me there. And then in terms of defenses, I must say the Giants defense is definitely stepping up lately. They have my attention, but the Raiders pass defense is pretty damn good too. I think they're going to sell out to stop the run here. And if they could stop Saquon Barkley, then I'm pretty confident they could win this game. I liked Aiden O'Connell heading into the season. I said, we're going to back him no matter what. He stunk against the Chargers, but I'm hoping that in his second NFL start at home, not on the road in LA, he's a bit more confident here. He's got the coaching staff on his side, and I think he could produce just enough to win this bowl game, especially now that it's down at 1.5. 2.5, 3, that's one thing. 1.5, I'll play the Raiders.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Prop Beaver giving out losing picks. Giants is the move here. I know that everyone likes to everyone's betting the Raiders here. So many people giving out Raiders picks. Really? I don't see it. I know that a lot of people believe that when the head coach gets fired and things get toppled over in the front office, that all of a sudden they come out with some new energy. And there's some truth to that. I just backed Arkansas yesterday for that exact reason. You want to know the difference? Arkansas has a talented, experienced quarterback and a really good, one of the best running backs in the country. Arkansas had the offensive talent. The Raiders have Adams, and I mean, I guess Jacobs is still okay, but Aiden O'Connell looked awful in his first start. He looked absolutely awful. The Chargers pass rush, which really hasn't been there for this whole season, all of a sudden exploded. Khalil Mack had 6 sacks in that game. He didn't know how to handle even an average pass rush. The Giants have a great pass rush. I know Leonard Williams not being there definitely hurts. But the Giants defense is playing awesome right now. Their last 3 games, the Giants have allowed 10, 7, and 14 points. No one's talking about it, but the Giants defense looks really good right now. Yes, Leonard Williams, I'm sure they take a step backwards, but that pass rush is coming, and Aiden O'Connell looked awful against the pass rush in his first start. I don't know how we can back him here. What did he fumble the ball 3 times? He looked terrible. And then look, the Giants offense, it's bad. But you know what? They finally got their offensive line back. Andrew Thomas is back. It looks like he's going to play. Evan Neal looks like he's going to play on the right side of tackle. The center, Schmitz, that they like, that guy they drafted in the first round, he's healthy. He missed a few games. Giants offensive line is finally healthy. It hasn't been in a while. I expect to see a heavy dose of Saquon Barkley in this one. Raiders pass rush is definitely a problem. But you know what? We just saw Brian Daboll handle the Buffalo Bills pass rush on Sunday Night Football. He knows how to coach an offense when he doesn't expect his quarterback to have much time. And by the way, speaking of quarterbacks, Daniel Jones is going to play, which doesn't really move the Nah, I'm not the biggest fan.
That's worse for the Giants.
No, it's not worse than that kid DeVito.
Yes, it
Come
is.
on. Then
Okay.
DeVito?
No, if Tyrod Taylor was playing,
Well, he's not. He's
Taylor's
injured.
much better. I'm just saying though, like the offense is going to take a step back with Daniel Jones at QB rather than Tyrod Taylor. No debate about that.
What are you on, Andy?
Yeah, I'm on Vegas. I like what AJ said
Did you
about
guys
them.
have a call before? Like,
No,
let's
no,
all
I
get on the
promise
same
you.
side.
Just
No,
two tanks winning
yeah.
bets.
I think they're gonna do enough in the running game to support Aiden O'Connell. I like Aiden O'Connell. I was with you guys with him at Purdue. I really liked him. Obviously, he's
too.
gonna be under pressure today, so I do think they're gonna run the ball a lot more. But I think he'll look better than he did against LA. I never take your first career start for anything. How I was giving Jordan Love a lot of love for his first career start, so those don't always matter. So yeah, I'm with Vegas in this one. I'm with AJ in this one.
Toast, what are your thoughts when a team dismantles the coaching staff? Are you like a guy who likes to bet a team after that?
No, because I just look at the numbers, and since 2003 in the NFL, the teams that have fired their coaches are 16 and 19 straight up the next game. So it doesn't really move the needle for
Better
me.
than I thought it would.
So Giants for
but
you?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep. No, I'm gonna keep on playing what I've always played with these two teams. Raiders team total under 20.5, and the under in the game at 39 or whatever it is now. Giants are 7-1 to the under this season. They're the best team in the NFL for the under. I'll continue to bet that until they give me a reason not to. And the Raiders have not hit their team total over once this season. I'm going to continue to bet that until it doesn't hit for me. So Raiders team total under in the game with the Giants.
The Raiders haven't hit their team total over once?
Wow.
No.
I
I bet it every fucking week. Every week. I
Not
bet it
once? They didn't hit
I'll
the
be
team over
joining you
once.
next week, Toast.
Yo,
Wow.
for real,
Jesus
like, why are
Christ.
you not tweeting that out? I'd be riding that. They haven't hit it once.
Because no one wants to listen to my NFL takes.
No, but you're Mr. Trends, and sometimes you need a Mr.
This is
Trends.
So the Raiders are 0-7 to their team total over. Oh,
Correct.
Or 0-8?
I'm sorry. 8-0 to the under. Yes, 8-0.
8-0.
Under.
The Raiders team total 8-0 to the under. That's wild. Wow, they're trash.
The only team in the NFL without a team total over.
So I'm on the Giants, and our poll slightly leaning Giants. 47% Giants, 41% Raiders, 8% under. Next.
I forgot to say also in the Panthers game, Chuba Hubbard's going to go off. But go ahead.
His name's Chuba. Have some fucking respect.
I was waiting for
Whatever.
it.
Have some respect.
Do you want me to start doing yours, Beaver?
No.
Toast, can I get the weather in Philadelphia, please?
The weather in Philadelphia. Who gives a shit about Philadelphia? 64 degrees, partly cloudy.
So it's beautiful.
Couldn't agree more.
It's a
Toast.
beautiful
Couldn't agree
evening in
more.
Philly.
Beautiful.
Are we still at 3?
Full trash-filled city of scumbags.
We still at 3?
Yeah, it's still at 3. Total still at 46.5. The only game thus far I've seen with actually every book in unison on both those lines.
They're pretty comfortable. I think the public's coming in pretty spoiled. Actually, it looks like it's coming in on the Eagles in the bottom left. All right, Prop Beaver, are you backing the Dak attack? Is Dak Prescott back?
I'm somewhat backing the Dak attack. I'm backing Mr.
I see your
freaking
graphic here.
Lamb over here. Yeah, give me CeeDee Lamb over 76.5 receiving yards. Lamb started off on fire the first 2 games, 110 yards per game, 8.5 targets per game, 7.5 receptions per game. And in one of those, Dak only threw for 150 yards against the Giants on the road. So it just shows that how heavy of an impact he has on this passing game. And then after those 2 games where he started off hot, he was on a hell of a cold spray, 46 yards per game, just 4 receptions per game. But then the last 2 games, we have seen an explosion out of CeeDee Lamb. Not only is he getting 137.5 yards per game, he's getting nearly 10 receptions per game, and most of that is moving CeeDee Lamb out of the slot, which is great because normally he hasn't been as productive on the outside that he has in the slot. Complete opposite case this year, nearly averaging over 5 yards per route run on the outside this season. And it doesn't really matter where you line him up because the Eagles' pass D is a shell of itself. They're allowing the 6th most yards per game, most pass attempts per game, and sit 10th in DVOA.
And they run man coverage.
DVOA against wide receiver 1. Oh, let me get there. Don't you? Let me get there now. In 2022, they were a top 5 pass defense against wide receiver 1s. Guess what? CeeDee Lamb, he didn't give a shit. He had 120 yards against them last year. Over 67% of Lamb snaps have come from the slot. Guess what? Eagles allowing the 5th highest target rate to the slot. Eagles run single high coverage at the 7th highest rate in the league. First single high coverage since 2022. Lamb owns a 3.36 yards per route run, 4th best in the league. Icing on the cake, as Kyle said, Eagles sit 9th in man coverage frequency. Lamb's 3.84 yards per route run against man is the 6th highest in the NFL amongst wide receivers. Books had Lamb's receptions line yesterday at 5.5, juice like 170 to the over. Now it's at 6.5. So let's just assume that it's going to hit at least 6+ receptions. With 6+ receptions in 2021, CeeDee Lamb is 17-3 to the over, averaging 107 yards per game. Add in the fact that the Eagles' rush defense has been elite and Tony Pollard's been putrid. I think we see CeeDee Lamb go off today. As far as a game side, I'm going to take the Eagles. I don't trust Dak and this pass defense away from home. I think Dak can produce through the air, but ultimately, I think if you're going to struggle to run the ball, you're going to struggle to hold the lead. And Dak Prescott is very much more mistake prone on the road. And then on the other side, I think Jalen Hurts, yeah, he'll probably make a mistake or two, but I ultimately trust that rush attack more than the Cowboys to keep their opponent off the field. And I think that the added element of Jalen Hurts' rushing ability is going to shine in this one because while the Cowboys have been great at stopping running backs, they haven't been great at stopping QBs. So I'm going to lay the 3. I think the Cowboys smoke the Eagles when they play at AT&T Stadium later this season.
All right. Andy, should I just put up Eagles because you're blindly tailing Prop Beaver?
That's not the reason, but yeah, I'm definitely I'm on the Eagles. I'm on the Eagles. For Dak Prescott, like he might have had a couple of good games in this season, but he's had a lot of bad ones too. This is a defense that's got torn apart by Sam Howell. So if there was ever a moment where Dak needs to have a good game, it would probably be this one. But I just don't see it. At home, Philly is usually good against their division rivals. So yeah, I like Philly in this one. But yeah, I also think when this game's later in the season, I'll have a different thought too. So,
how about them Cowboys? This isn't look, not gonna try to slam my fist down and try to get you to tail me on this. I don't love the side. Actually, the best bet here is probably just take the over. The over is cast in 5 straight Cowboys-Eagles games. These teams just always seem to get into a shootout, 5 in a row. So I split my money in half and put half on Dallas plus 3.5 on the over. Dak's home away splits are concerning. He's definitely played much better at home, and the fact that this game's on the road in Philadelphia, don't love that. But you know what? Dak Prescott has played really well against the NFC East over the course of his entire career. He just always seems to show up for the division games. Jalen Hurts' health is a problem for me. Everyone keeps saying the same phrase, and I've listened to several podcasts, and everyone keeps saying, like, if Jalen Hurts' legs aren't there. I don't know. That might be a little dramatic, but I think he's going to be hindered running the ball. And if we're just talking about Cowboys versus Eagles, when Jalen Hurts is forced to be a pocket passer, I don't know who I think the better team is right now. Sure, we can point to a lot of flaws in the Cowboys so far this season. We can do the same thing with Philadelphia. They've looked really vulnerable at times. The run game for Philly has fallen off a little bit. In the last 2 or 3 games, production hasn't been there running the ball, and the Cowboys have been really good against the run this season. The Cowboys pass rush is obviously going to be a problem. I'll take the full 3 points. But really, if like you put a gun to my head and say, Kyle, make a bet on this game that wins or you die, I would say over 46.5. But I'm putting Cowboys +3 on the screen because I grew up a Cowboys fan and it's more fun to pick sides. Toast?
Yeah, I'm betting the Cowboys with you. I have to bet the Cowboys with you because they are my team. A couple things to note about Mr. Dak Prescott. 25-10 ATS against the NFC East. He's negative in everything else against all other divisions, so that's a positive. Also, Dak Prescott 8-3 ATS against the Eagles and 3-0 ATS against Sirianni. Also, Prescott is 6-0 ATS coming off a loss, 8-5 ATS coming off a win, so that's not great. But yeah, two other plays. I do have two props that I played. Jake Ferguson anytime touchdown at +245. He has 11 red zone targets. That leads the NFL this year. So I'm going to play his touchdown. And then Dak Prescott over 32.5 attempts, not completions, just attempts. I told Beaver this yesterday. Tony Pollard's just been pretty bad this season. It's really not effective. And I think that the Eagles are going to put up points. And so I think Dak's going to have to throw the ball to keep Dallas in the game. So I don't want to deal with if he's completing those passes or how long they're going, but I do think he throws the ball over 32.5 times.
I like that. I can see that. So yeah, we're split down the middle, and we're like lining up as a tag team here. It's like me and Toast versus the youngsters. We're gonna teach these youngsters a lesson today. But I think Andy might just be blindly tailing Prop Beaver at this point.
That's not happening. That's not happening at all.
50% of our viewers are on the Eagles, 40% on Dallas. So looks like public and the chart's still the same thing. Looks like the public is slightly leaning Philly, but nothing crazy. 6% over. So a lot of people clicking the over. Last game up, Sunday Night Football. We got Bills at Bengals, a good one. And I can't believe. Real quick, let's get weather in Cincinnati, please, Toast.
Weather in Cincinnati. Nice. It's partly cloudy. It's clear. We're good.
Okay. Is it 2.5 still, Prop Beaver?
Yep, 2.5 consensus, total at 50.5 consensus.
50.5. So I'll just go first and get it out of the way. Can't believe I'm doing this. This is so square and so public, and I'm even getting the worst of the number because this is available at 1.5 early in the week.
You're really selling it right now.
This sucks, but I am pretty convinced that this is the right side. Everything we've seen points to Cincinnati here. Buffalo seems to be trending downwards, and Cincinnati seems to be trending upwards, and this isn't new. Like, it's not like people act like we didn't just see the same thing last year with the Bengals. They started off slow, then down the stretch. They were kind of like the Jags a little bit. We're down the stretch that you just had to bet that team. And at under a field goal at home against a Bills defense that can't seem to stop anybody right now. Those injuries crushed the Buffalo defense. And Joe Burrow just seems to be catching his groove. Trust me, if there was an angle to get to the Bills, I would have found it. Maybe some trends point to the Bills. Maybe Toast will be on Buffalo in this one. But it's so square. It's so public. Everyone's going to be on the Bengals. And I didn't see enough to get to the other side. Also, he's not the hardest name to say in football. Lou Anarumo. I just said it, dude. Lou Anarumo had no problems with Josh Allen in the playoffs. They held him to like 250 yards. Had no problems with this Bills offense. The Bills' rushing attack has fallen off. There's just nothing alluring there for Buffalo. In order for me to get to Buffalo, I would need to see this flip to 3.5. And then at 3.5, then it would be like, okay, I would have to really sit back and think. But 2.5, no question. Anything 3 or below, no question I'm on Cincinnati. Prop Beaver?
Yeah, so I cooked up a SGP for this one, plus 115. It's 2 legs. First leg.
Then why didn't you send me a graphic for it?
I did, but okay. Gabe Davis under 3.5 receptions and Kincaid at 25+ receiving yards. Let's talk about Gabe Davis first.
Oh, there it is. You're off the hook. It's right there.
Gabe Davis had 9 receptions on 12 targets last week. That's great, but if you look at his game logs, the dude never sees consistent usage. I mean, there's been 2 games this season where he's gone over this total, right? He's gotten 7 targets, 6 receptions. How did he do the next game? 4 targets, 1 reception. Against Jacksonville, he had 8 targets, 6 receptions. How did he do the next game? 4 targets, 3 receptions. And Gabe Davis has been an utter non-factor on the road thus far. He has 2, 1, and 1 receptions. His catch rate on targets in those games is an abysmal 30.7%. He's now going to face a Bengals defense that allows the fewest receptions per game to wide receiver 2s. Cornerback Cam Taylor-Britt, he's cornerback number 1 for the Bengals. He shadows top wide receivers. So that's likely going to leave DJ Turner, the cornerback 2, on Gabe Davis. Turner's 41.2 reception percentage is the lowest on the Bengals, while his 9.7 snaps per target saw and 23.6 snaps per reception allowed are amongst the best on the team. I love the spot for Gabe to go under, but didn't want to recommend you guys a minus 150 play. So that's why I'm going to parlay it with Kincaid, who's in a beautiful spot here. Kincaid has seen massive leaps in usage the last 2 weeks, especially with Dawson Knox out. He's averaging 70 yards per game, 6.5 receptions per game, 7.5 targets per game. He's now going to face a Bengals defense that has been bad against tight ends this year, allowing the 6th most yards per game and sitting 29th in DVOA against them. Kincaid's reception line at 3.5 is juiced to the gills on the over with 4+ receptions this year. Kincaid is 5-0 to 25+ yards. He's averaging 47.2. Tight ends with 4+ receptions against Cincy this year, 3-0 to the over, averaging a whole ass 88 yards per game. So I love the value of plus money. This is plus 115 on Bet365. Would play that to minus 110 as well.
Someone asked for a Chiefs update. It's 21-14 Chiefs. Kansas City has the ball 3rd and 9 around midfield. So this is actually a pretty big 3rd down. Ball is snapped. Blitz. Mahomes gets the... Oh, he's going deep. Wow, no PI there. A little bit of contact. Incomplete. So the Chiefs are going to punt. Should be able to pin the Dolphins pretty deep. All right, Andy, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I like Buffalo in this one. I'm against Kyle here on this one, and originally I was on Cincinnati, but something about this team in big games this year. I mean, they played Miami. It's more of a college trend, but you see it more. You see it more there, where teams will wake up for games. This seems like a game they're gonna wake up for on the road. Going to Cincinnati, obviously, is gonna be emotions in that game. I'm not even gonna bring up why, but this is a game where I think they just wake up. Josh Allen plays a really good game. I think they're gonna use Stephon Diggs a lot tonight, so I would go his over on anything he has there. So yeah, I'm heavy on Buffalo tonight, but I also like the under because for some reason the Sunday night football games have been relatively low scoring recently. So
all
like
the primetime games are going under.
Yeah.
Toast.
Well, if you like the under, Josh Allen 25-16 to the under in his career. He hasn't played well he has played really well as a dog. Josh Allen has in the regular season, but he hasn't in the playoffs. I don't know. I think I'm going to ride with Sauce here with Joe Burrow. Look, I love my trends, and there's one thing that I know to do with Joe Burrow. You bet Joe Burrow when he plays anybody that's not in his division. Joe Burrow, 19-3-1 ATS, his last 22 against non-divisional opponents.
Say 19-3-1?
Oh, my God.
Good
against
Lord.
non-divisional opponents. I keep saying, I bet him when he faces anybody that's not in that division. So I'm just going to continue to ride that.
Jesus. What is that, 79% hit rate? Like, holy hell.
Like 80+.
So, all right. Andy on an island on his Bills. Shall we do community parlay? Oh, do you have an underdog prop, Beaver?
I'm cooking it up right now. Why don't you do the community parlay, and we can bring that up. I'll email it to you.
All right, let's do the community parlay. Community parlay. Let's do that. I kind of like what we're doing with the teasers. We haven't had the best luck with it. Actually, the 49ers missing that field goal against the Browns, that's what cost us the 1 week. Last week it was... forget who cost us last week. It's always one team. But all right, so they liked Packers or Rams? They liked Packers. No, they liked the Rams there, I think. Shit. I can't scroll up that high. I think they like the Rams. So we'll go Rams plus 9.5. Commanders or Patriots? Who do they like? Shit. Commanders plus 8.5.
Fuck, who do they like?
I don't know who they liked in Bucks Texans either. I forget. I think they like the Texans.
I should have wrote them down.
Yeah. Texans plus 3.5. Cardinals, Browns. They like the Browns. Browns minus 7. Or I guess it would be 6.5.
Beaver, I took your boy Garrett Wilson over receiving yards. Is that okay?
I'm on Eckler. I'm fine with that. I mean, Chargers pass defense is putrid. I'm on Eckler tomorrow. He should have a massive day through the air.
First
I
leg.
forget that's tomorrow.
First leg is gonna be looking like the Commanders plus 8.5. I'll give it another few seconds, but so that was last week's Cowboys money line hit. Then Chiefs -1. Chiefs blew it last week when they lost to the Broncos. So this week. Yeah, actually the Rams came back and Commanders plus 9.5 is the first leg. Let's get leg number 2 up. All right, so we got Bears Saints. They like the Saints, so that'd be Saints -3. Seahawks Ravens. They like the Ravens, so that'd be Ravens money line. Vikings, Falcons, they like the Falcons, so that'd be Falcons plus 2.5. Colts, Panthers, they like the Colts, so that'd be Colts plus 3.5. All right, second leg.
I just sent the underdog. It's in your inbox.
Hey Beaver, how much do you put? This is a serious question too. How much do you ever put in much into like explosive plays of like 20 yards or more? Like if a person or a team does that a lot, or do you think that that's just kind of variance?
No, I think that's a good thing to find. I have, for some reason, a struggle finding those stats, though. I remember about 2 years ago when I first started working with Kyle, NFL.com would tell me how many 20-plus yard rushes a team had allowed, how many 40-plus yard rushes a team had allowed, and the same thing with passing yards. So like a 20-plus yard completion, a 40-plus yard completions. I haven't been able to find those, and then I have subscriptions to PFF, FTN, everything, and I can't really find an explosive play rate either. So if you know where to find that, well, please let me know.
That was my next question. Yeah, that was my next question because I was looking at Mike Evans and I'm reading a write-up from obviously not me, and it says he ranks 5th in explosive plays of 20-plus yards this season, and then I couldn't find out how to verify it.
I know it's very, very frustrating. I don't know where these people are getting this information from. It's so specific. One would assume they're not lying. That would make no sense.
That's what I'm saying. But there's sometimes that people are just. I mean, you and I both know people can send in stuff that are wrong.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's also this website called the 33rd Team where they show different players' fantasy production against different coverages. But I can't find where to get coverage percentages for each of these defenses. So I feel like I'm like a few pieces away from having everything I need to cap NFL.
The coverage
games,
percentage,
like,
we know where to find that. It's on FTN.
No, zone versus man is fine, but I want to know their cover 2 frequency.
Oh, yeah.
No
one. I feel like there's no site that consistently does that. You'll see it in articles here and there, but I haven't found a site that can consistently give you that.
So I just wonder where these dudes are finding these.
Yeah, where are they getting it from? Exactly.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm saying. Are they spending an hour to go through each game log?
No, there's definitely there's databases out there that just aren't readily available. They aren't marketed well. We'll find them.
Maybe like True Media or something. Maybe they're paying the big bucks. I got no.
Yeah, that shit's real expensive.
Yeah.
All right, so our legs so far: Commanders plus 9.5, Ravens money line, Bengals plus 3.5, and now let's see what got the most votes. Rams plus 9.5 got a lot of votes. Let's throw that back in. Browns -6.5 got some votes. Let's throw that back in. Colts plus 3.5 was the other second place. Colts plus 3.5 and Eagles plus 3. Those would be the most that got the most votes. So let's finish out our teaser. Last leg. I know these shows while the Europe games are going on, they're not quite as good because everyone's kind of half paying attention. It sucks. I hate that they do that. I wish that the overseas games were played at night over there so they could be just a normal time for us, but make the best of it.
Move them to Saturdays. That'd be hype. Like one Saturday NFL game.
Well, it may be after college football ends, but yeah.
Some of us watch college football.
F yo college football, bro.
Well,
get your garbage ass Middle Tennessee out of here.
Don't bring up Middle Tennessee after that. In case you don't know how I lost the bet, Middle Tennessee missed a 28-yard field goal at the end of the game. 28. 28. No, if you're thinking,
I can't be mad because in 2 weeks I'm going to be doing the same thing with free throw shooting, so I have to just be quiet.
In case you're like, you know what? He probably meant 48. No, 28 yards. It was an extra fucking point. That's one of my top bets. I had so much money on that. Up 28. So what is this? Plus 290 or something, Toast, these teasers with 4 legs, plus 290.
Yeah.
All right. There it is. Commanders plus 9.5. Ravens money line. Bengals plus 3.5. Rams plus 9.5. Everybody have a great Sunday. Thanks as always for watching. Oh, no,
Underdog.
wait. Underdog. I got Prop Beaver's Underdog. How did I cut off Prop Beaver's Underdog? And he's been fucking killing the underdogs too.
Don't jinx my ass now. I had a bad NBA.
No, I'm doing it on
last
purpose. I want you to be humiliated on the broadcast. All right, Prop Beaver, you have the floor. Here's your underdog.
All the plays I named earlier, put them in a parlay. Lamar, over. Stroud, over. Higher. My bad. Higher. CeeDee Lamb, higher. Dotson, higher. The boys are going off today. Let's have a good day. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yeah, so if you don't have... Oh, you know what? If you don't have an Underdog fantasy account, you can. It's available at any. Where is my map, man? Where's my map? My Underdog map.
It's in video stuff and main graphics.
It's available in a lot of states, man. Just go to if you're in there, just go to Underdog Fantasy. Download the app. Use the. They're actually doing a $500 deposit bonus right now. So if you use the promo code BET, you deposit $500, they will give you a free $500. It's in some states. I usually have the map for you guys. Just I'm out of it this morning. Don't have my shit ready. There it is. It's evaluated in any state, any state highlighted on Toast's phone there. It's available. Everyone, have a great Sunday. Remember to bet responsibly. And we'll be uploading the Monday Night Football video probably tomorrow morning, tomorrow around lunchtime. Talk to you guys later.
Deuces.